Hi, Dr. Allen. I'm Bryn Kreidel. I'm getting my master's in Human Services Counseling, Crisis Response, and Trauma. And this is my group leading report for Group Dynamics 511. My group met on Tuesday night at 5. Several of the women worked, or several had children at home that needed to wait for husbands to get home so they could come. We met as a growth and support group with the goal of deepening our friendships and encouraging the sharing of burdens that each woman in the group was carrying. All the women are friends of mine that I had stayed connected to during this pandemic year, and all the women had previously been acquainted. We met in a private home. We were in comfortable chairs around a coffee table that had some snacks and drinks on it. And it quickly became apparent to me as people arrived that they indeed had been previously acquainted and needed a few minutes to reintroduce themselves and reconnect. I had not planned that as part of the group, so we just gave that some time, and our group actually started at about 5:20. And as we began, I explained again what we were doing. All my friends know that I'm getting my master's and are very encouraging about that. And I explained to them expectations for the group, which included confidentiality, participation, brevity. And then I explained some of the things that I was learning as a group leader, and that I would be trying to practice some of the skills and introduce some of the exercises and activities that I thought might be appropriate for the group and helpful. Our topic was an unexpected event that changed my life, and we began with an icebreaker. I had gathered a number of objects that symbolized something of weight. For example, an elephant, a dumbbell, a rock, a feather. Set the objects on the coffee table and asked each woman to choose an object that symbolized a burden that she was carrying, that she would be willing to share with the group that evening. As soon as everyone had chosen, we began a comment round where each woman briefly explained what the object represented to her. I got to practice cutting off when a couple of the women were trying to share more than was appropriate during the comment round. It felt good to get through the comment round with everybody participating. Our comment round showed that several of the stories had been triggered by things directly related to being at home and being locked down and being in a unique situation with families and children. For example, one of the women who was off work for a while had begun to go through family photos and videos and realized as she was doing it that even though her 23-year marriage had ended 10 years ago, she was still shocked that it was over and didn't see the ending coming, and still couldn't adjust to the fact that she thought she had a very happy, perfect life and family when her marriage ended. There were several stories similar to that, and all of the women listened well to each other, and there was a lot of empathy and a lot of concern in the group. Tried to keep the focus on one person at a time. Started the middle phase with the question, who would like to tell more of their story? I found scanning to be really hard, especially when the person talking was looking right at me. It was really hard to break that gaze and look around the room. I also found it to be hugely important for knowing what the other women how the other women in the group were reacting and responding, and very important for asking who should go next, because sometimes the body language said, I need to go next, and that might not have been the way it had gone had I not been looking. All of the women shared, and some were very free about what their needs going forward from their friends might be. Concluding the group was hard, but I wanted to honor the time. I'm a firm believer and kept emphasizing to the women that if we honored our time, we could do it more often. And so I had planned some comments about hope and some prayer time, but we didn't have either one of those. Didn't need to have the comments about hope. It came up a lot during the middle phase of the group. We ended up instead sharing names and numbers, putting them on pieces of paper, and everybody took home one name and one number with a commitment to pray for that person and reach out to them during the next 2 weeks. We're meeting again in 2 weeks. We want to continue the group. We want to deepen our friendships. I found the planning to be challenging, but very rewarding. And I have made a commitment to have an arsenal of activities and questions and ways to draw people out and to connect members of the group so that they can benefit most from being together. I was overwhelmed sometimes by the emotion in the group. I didn't grow up in a time and place where emotions were spoken or acknowledged, and several of the women in the group said the same thing. I had an activity that I could have used to help identify emotions, but decided not to use it during the group because I think that's another group. Mentioned that to the women, and several of them agreed that they would like to do some more thinking about even just the names of emotions. I realized that I want to work with women. I want that to be my focus. I like women. I like their stories, and I like knowing that they need encouragement and that that's something I can do. I was very aware for all of the members of the group that we are the hands and feet of Christ to one another. And the idea that Christ came in human form and that sometimes that looks like us was just hugely present in that group.